Hey Divas and Jets, it's your girl Dalapa, and today I'm coming to you with a whole nother video. And this video is a Cultivating Femininity video, and in this video I'm going to talk about the steps that I took and that I'm still taking to sit comfortably in my femininity. If you're interested, please stick around. Okay Diva, so I've been on this journey of really cultivating my femininity for the past few years. I realized that I have always been a girly girl, but I didn't grow into being a feminine woman until I made a choice to do so over the past couple of years. And the thing is, a lot of times we could think, oh, well, I'm a girly girl. I like feminine things. I like doing my nails. I like getting my hair done. I like makeup. I like clothes and purses and all those kind of things. That makes you a girly girl, but it doesn't make you a feminine woman. Being a feminine woman is really intentional. Being a feminine woman is something that sits within you and exudes out. Whereas being a girly girl is more on the surface. It's more about, oh, well, I like this. I like hair. I like makeup. I like spa days. I like skincare. You know, things on the outside. And me sharing these tips are tips that I've taken, that I'm still taking in order to really sit comfortably in my femininity. And the reason why I say it's really an inside out type of work is because one of the tips I'm going to give you, the first tip I'm going to give you is foundational to me, and that is to get therapy. Therapy is really at the core, it's at the foundation of this series that I'm doing about cultivating femininity, because I realize that if you have any unresolved traumas, if you have any unforgiveness in your heart, if you have any resentment, if you have any lack of self-control, if you have anger issues, if you have things that are negative about yourself that you don't really like, whether it's jealousy or whatever it is about yourself that you don't really like, it makes it very difficult for you to be in a state of constant femininity when you have to wrestle with those issues. So first and foremost is to go to therapy and get help. To me, self-care when it comes to femininity doesn't really matter without mental health care. Deal with your mental health first. I feel like self-care is more like putting a bandage on a big wound instead of really addressing the wound. There is a place for self-care when it comes to femininity. Absolutely, there is a place for it. But you really have to deal with the core of your being, with the core of who you are, with your pains and your hurts and your traumas and your disappointments and, you know, whatever it is that hurts you on the inside, whatever it is that provokes anger within you, whatever it is that provokes jealousy within you, whatever it is that provokes malice or any kind of negative feeling or negative emotion that you may have about yourself or about others. You have to get to the root of that first and really address that and uproot it before you can really sit in your femininity. Because if not, everything that comes out of those negative places can become really toxic and poisonous to your progress. So next is taking time for yourself. And this is where self-care can come in. There's nothing wrong, even now, you know, with me being a mom of 2 boys, sometimes the house is very noisy and sometimes I just need time to myself. I just need quiet. I need stillness. I need peace of mind. So I'll tell my husband, okay, now that you're home, I just need quiet time. I'm going to go upstairs or I'm going to go downstairs and I just need quiet for an hour. Sometimes it's on the weekend. I'm like, I'm going to be here for 6 hours, undisturbed to myself, vegging out on romantic comedies, vegging out on YouTube videos, doing whatever it is that I need to recenter myself, to feel good about myself, to feel feminine, even if it's doing a workout, watching YouTube videos, if it's writing in a journal, if it's writing out my plans for the week. As long as I'm with myself for the next few hours, it recharges me and I could be my best self for everybody else. If I am stretched too thin, I come off very snappy, and I know that's not the best to me, and I don't want that for my family members either. So definitely don't see it as being selfish. See it as a time for you to recharge so that you could be the best you, not just for yourself, but for others as well. Don't feel guilty for being high maintenance. This is something that I had to learn, because there was a point in life where people, you know, would make you feel like, oh, you're doing too much. You know, you like hair, you like nails, you like fashion. Oh, is that all you think about? That all you care about? And it's like, no, I care about deeper things as well. but there's nothing wrong with me liking what I like. So if I want to take the time to try on outfits all day and put outfits together, or if I want to take the time to learn new makeup techniques, or if I want to take the time to take my clothes to get fitted, or whatever it is I'm going to take the time to do, I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm not going to feel guilty about it, because I know that it helps me present my best self to the world and to myself. Before, people used to make you feel like if you are so-called high maintenance, oh, like, why do you have to be high maintenance? Why can't you just love yourself the way that you are? Why do you need makeup? Why do you need hair? Why do you need nails? You know, you should just love yourself and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, silence all of that. And as long as you're happy with the image that you're projecting into this world, if it takes you an hour to get ready, who cares? If it takes you 2 hours to get ready, as long as you're balancing that time and not neglecting the other things you're supposed to do, who cares? If that's what makes you feel the most confident, if that's what makes you feel good into stepping into this world as your best self, take the time, sweetie. Take the time, okay? And if you're on the other end of the spectrum and you feel good just rolling out of bed and just brushing your teeth and putting a little bit of, lip gloss on and some mascara, and you feel great about that, more power to you. That's great too. But I don't feel like one is better than the other. I feel like each person should do what's right for them in order to present their best self, their most confident self, into the world. Next has been open and honest communication with my husband. I was a person that would keep a lot of stuff in. I'm naturally an introverted person, so I hold a lot of stuff in. And I realized in therapy and things like that, that holding things in keeps them in your head and keeps you playing ping pong in your head. The thoughts keep going back and forth. Then you get into like worst case scenario thoughts, and you get into all these negative thoughts. Whereas if you would have just spoken out what you were feeling, it gets the thoughts out of your head and you could just concentrate on something else. Or when I speak to my husband about something, he'll give me a suggestion or he'll give me an answer that I wasn't even thinking about, that I'm like, oh, I didn't even consider that. And it gets the thoughts out of your head. So open and honest communication about whatever that you're feeling, even if it's something that the other person is doing that's making you feel a certain type of way. I feel like the best way to address it is to just be open and honest in a respectful way and say, hey, when you said this, it made me feel this way. Or when you said this, I took it this way, which made me feel this way. What exactly did you mean when you said this? Open and honest communication really helps a relationship, as long as it's done in a respectful and loving way, which really does help you sit in the throne of your femininity, because now you're not always thinking the worst about the other person. Oh, well, he must have meant this because he said this way, and it gives you a bad attitude. And now you're thinking all these scenarios in your head that's not really happening. And your husband might have just been like, I didn't even mean it that way. I'm sorry that you took it that way. And now you have a bad attitude all day because you thought he meant it this way when he had no idea that he even said it that way. So I just feel like it's good to just talk and communicate open and honestly. Next for me is being present. It's so easy to get caught up in anxiety and fear when you're doing new things, or like when you have ideas about something, or when you want to execute a plan, or in just everyday life. And sometimes we're so anxious about the next thing that we don't even get to allow ourselves to appreciate the current thing and just be present in that, and to really appreciate that, and to sit back in your femininity and be like, wow, this is awesome. This time with my family, this time with my husband, this time with my friends, right at this moment, this is awesome. But a lot of times we're so caught up in our heads about, okay, what's going to be for dinner? Did he do his homework? This person's going to take a bath at this time. Tomorrow, this is what's going to happen. What am I going to make for dinner tomorrow? What time is the dry cleaners going to close? What time is this? What time is that? We're always so caught up in the next thing that we don't even get to really fully appreciate the current thing. And that anxiousness takes us out of our throne of femininity, because we're always so stressed about the next that we don't sit comfortably in being present. So that's something that I'm constantly working on. I haven't got it down packed yet. It's something that I'm still working on, but when I do notice it, I do take a step back and I'm like, okay, girl, calm down and just be present. Just appreciate what's going on right now. Sit in it, appreciate it, take it in, take in this memory, and be present. Next is allowing myself to feel. I know society makes us want to run away from our feelings, because sometimes feeling what you feel can make other people uncomfortable. So a lot of times we're taught to kind of suppress what we feel, and for the greater good of the room, or for the greater good of how other people feel. I say, feel what you feel. Take a moment to feel it. If somebody offends you, If somebody hurts your feelings, if somebody says something to make you feel angry, there's nothing wrong with feeling but what you feel, but controlling how you respond. That's where the dichotomy comes in. Feel what you feel, but don't get lost in your feeling. Don't get overly emotional in your feeling to the point where it blinds you and you respond in rage or extreme anger and you do something that you may regret. You could say to yourself right now, I'm feeling hurt. I will address this later when I am calmer. Or even if it's in that moment, you let the person know what you said really hurt me and I'm feeling hurt right now. And if I respond the real way that I want to respond, this conversation will go very left field. So right now I am going to remove myself from the situation and I will talk to you when cooler heads prevail. And you just remove yourself from the situation. I don't believe that you need to pretend for people and act like if a person offends you, or I'm not offended, nobody can say anything to offend me, whatever, I'm not offended. And then you leave feeling passive aggressive or feeling like you couldn't express yourself, and now you're kicking yourself because you're like, oh, I should have said this, or I should have said that, or I should have read this person for filth, or I should have did this, or I should have did that. No. For me, a lot of the times I didn't express how I felt because I didn't have the words. I didn't have the vocabulary. I didn't know how to not go from 0 to 100 without cutting you down at your kneecaps, okay? Without going for the lowest hanging fruit and going gutter. So for me, I was like, it's better for me not to say anything, because if I say something, it's going to go from 0 to 100 real quick because I don't know how to play fair. So I had to learn how to play fair. I had to learn how to express myself and express my feeling in the moment without going completely left field. So feel what you feel. If somebody hurts your feelings, if you're feeling sad in the moment for whatever reason, feel what you feel, but don't get lost in it. Don't let the feeling overwhelm you. This is coming from a person that has dealt with depression for many years. And this is a tool that my therapist has helped me with, having the words to say in uncomfortable situations, so that when you do feel a certain emotion or a certain trigger or something that makes you feel uneasy, you have the words to say it, and then you remove yourself from the situation. That way, you're still in a feminine space, because femininity doesn't mean you don't get angry. It doesn't mean that you don't get offended. It doesn't mean that everybody and everything is rainbows and butterflies. People are still people, and some people are just rude and nasty because of their own issues and traumas and journeys that's going on in their lives. You have to know how to deal with those kind of people and remove yourself from those situations. And even when you're by yourself and you're feeling a certain type of way that you don't like, feel what you feel. Sometimes, even if you want to sulk, give yourself a time limit. I'm going to sulk for the next 30 minutes. I'm going to sulk for the next hour. But when that ringer goes off, I have to dust it off and keep on moving. Feel what you feel, but don't get consumed in it. Removing myself from negativity. And that is in as many areas as possible. I was the kind of person that I used to really consume, like Dateline, 2020, 48 hours, the first 48, all types of crazy stuff. And it did give me anxiety about real life, because all you're seeing all the time, all you're hearing is negativity, murder, people being kidnapped, all types of stuff. And you're just like, what kind of world are we living in here? And it does give you some type of, even if it's subconscious, a type of anxiety that follows you throughout your day. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying to not be aware. It is great to be aware. I watch certain, YouTube reels where people give tips about what to do if you see, a napkin in your door handle, or things like that. Things that make you aware of what's going on. But being overly consumed with negativity is not a good thing. I remember when I used to watch reality shows. I don't watch reality TV anymore. Well, I watch stuff like on HGTV, stuff like that. But I don't watch negative reality TV no more. And the reason was, I clearly remember having this thought in my head. And this was the time where Evelyn Lozada was on Basketball Wives. This was many years ago. And she had an issue with, I forgot the lady's name, but she was a short lady. And I remember Royce, something like that. And I remember them getting into an altercation, and I think one person ran across the table, somebody threw a drink, and then I was just like, this is giving me anxiety about being friends with women, because if these people are like this with each other, like, and society is thinking that this is okay, it's giving me a nervousness, it's giving me an anxiousness. And I was like, I have to stop watching this, because also at the same time, it's around the time where Teresa on Real Housewives of New Jersey was having an issue with somebody, and she was shaking tables, and I was just like, what is going, is this how women deal with things? When people don't like you, instead of using their words, they want to get violent. And I was just like, I'm not from this kind of world where if somebody says something you don't like, all of a sudden you want to throw a drink in their face and you want to slap them and fight them and pull hair. It was just too much for me. So I just stopped watching reality TV, because it was just like, this doesn't put me in a place of comfort. And looking back at it, I realized it doesn't put me in a place of femininity, because it makes me feel like I have to be aggressive in female feminine relationships. And I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like having to feel like that. So I stopped watching all those kind of ratchet, that's what it's called, ratchet reality TV. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. And I feel like society has become conditioned into thinking that this is normal behavior. If somebody says something you don't like, you got to read them for filth. You got to insult their mama, their children. You have to talk about their children's nappy hair. And I'm just like, I don't like that. I don't want to condition my mind with that. So I have not watched ratchet reality TV in a very, 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 very long time. Remove yourself from negativity. You have no idea how it's subconsciously taking control of your mind. If you want to sit in a place of femininity, do the next step, which is consume positivity. The Bible says, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, you know, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things, right? Think on positive things. Remove yourself from negativity. And also in removing yourself from negativity, going back to that, is also remove yourself from things and people that make you feel bad about yourself. If you have a YouTuber, Instagrammer, whoever you watch that makes you feel negative when you watch that person, maybe because of what they have, or maybe because of what they're doing, and maybe you're not at the place to do it yet, mute them, unfollow them for now, until you are in a better place mentally to be able to appreciate what they're doing without feeling any kind of negative vibes about it. If it makes you feel bad, there's nothing wrong with being honest with yourself and saying to yourself, I am not in a place where I can spew positivity right now. Every time I see this person, it's making me feel a certain type of way about myself. So I'm going to remove myself from this equation and mute this person. Nothing personal against that person. This is a me thing that I need to work on, and work on that in therapy with your therapist. Step number one, and deal with that way. Anything that's making you feel bad about yourself, even if it's in a relationship, if you have a boyfriend that makes you feel bad about yourself because maybe, you know, you want to lose weight and he keeps down talking you because you're not doing what you're supposed to do, maybe it's time for you to reevaluate that relationship. Even if it's a mother or a friend and you need to put more distance, because all they spew to you is negativity whenever you're around them, or they make you feel bad about yourself, or they make fun of you, or they talk negatively about you to other people. Create distance, remove yourself from the equation, because you should not subject yourself, your spirit, your aura to any kind of negativity from anybody. It's bad enough that we may have negative self-talk. You don't need it to be compounded by getting it from other people. And the negative self-talk that you have about yourself, you need to distance yourself from that as well, which is where therapy comes in, which was step number 1. Now, back to step number 7, consume positivity. Sermons, reading books that put you in a feminine place. And it doesn't have to just be self-improvement books. It can be romance novels. It can be a romantic film. Things that get your spirit, your femininity, your aura activated. Things that make you go, wow, I would like to experience that. Wow, I would like to travel here. Wow, I would like all these kind of great romantic experiences, or I would like these great adventures. You know, whatever activates the core of who you are, consume more of that. Consuming positivity will put you in a better place to receive positivity as well. Because when you're in a positive place, it's like a magnet. You really do receive more of it. But if you're standoffish because you're in a negative space and all you do is consuming negativity, which makes you expect the worst from people. When you expect the worst from people, a lot of the time you're going to get the worst from people. But when you show up in a positive way, even if somebody gives you off, rubs you the wrong way and gives you a bit of negativity, that's once in a while. That really can happen, and you might be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? But it shouldn't stop you from being who you are at the core, from being positive, because the more positive you are, the more positive you will experience. So consume positivity. Okay, divas, so those are the tips that I've been taking, that I'm still taking, in order to sit in my femininity, in order to not just be a girly girl, but also express myself as a feminine woman. I'm sure there are more tips and more steps that I'm going to take that you guys can suggest in the comment section below. We are a community here. We're cultivating our femininity, and this is a journey that we're all in on together, especially if you're watching this video. So I hope this video was helpful to you, and I hope you can leave some tips and tricks for me and your other sisters around that are watching as well. So I love you divas so much, and stay tuned for more. Bye.